As a forensic pathologist, here's what I saw when Charlie Kirk looked. The gushing blood points to a jugular vein injury. His arms pulling inward is very typical of decorticate posturing, which occurs usually during catastrophic brain damage. At 200 yards with a rifle, which is what would probably cause that, bullets don't just pass through the neck, they would fragment and destroy everything in their path. With that kind of injury, he would have lost consciousness within seconds and survived for less than a minute and probably felt nothing. Law enforcement always finds this and violence in response to speech is never.
The autopsy dropped, and the whispers on the street claimed Charlie Kirk never even knew what hit him. Lights out on contact, like a switch flipped. No struggle, no stumble, just immediate shutdown. This wasn't some random fight gone wrong or chaotic accident. It reads like someone lined him up and pulled off a textbook execution. Normally, high-profile hits carry that lingering fight for life. Dr. King clung to hours in a Memphis hospital in '68. Malcolm X was rushed into surgery after multiple rounds in '65. But Charlie, he didn't get that chapter. No gasp, no prayer, no hospital bed scene. His story ended before the cameras could roll. The language in the report paints a picture that's terrifying in its precision. Not sloppy, not accidental, but clinical. The wound was meant to kill instantly, stripping away every chance of survival. This wasn't rage spilling over. This was engineered to erase him in real time. No last stand. No whispered words for loved ones. No opportunity for a miracle headline. Just silence, immediate and absolute. That surgical brutality hands the narrative to whoever orchestrated it. And that's why figures like Candace Owens and Trump are circling this autopsy like predators. If the report mirrors the street rumors, they'll weaponize it. Instant death doesn't just end a man. It forges a martyr, and movements thrive on martyrs. Candace Owens didn't sugarcoat a single word. The moment she hit her podcast MIC, she made it clear Charlie Kirk wasn't lost. He wasn't gone too soon. In her words, he was executed, taken out in broad daylight for the world to see. No soft language, no polished PR line, just raw fire. She lit up anyone she thought was bending the truth, torching political figures and media heads who dared to spin the story. Her energy wasn't mourning, it was fury. She even confessed to breaking down in tears, something she swore she never allows, before flipping that pain into pure attack mode. And Owens didn't just keep it vague, she dropped names. She directly called out one major leader, accusing him of fabricating Kirk's so-called final letter to reframe him as some fallen patriot in a soldier's tale. Owens said it was all lies, a package designed to hijack the narrative. In her telling, Charlie wasn't a martyr by choice. He was a man crushed under impossible pressure, cornered by billionaire hands and angry donors who despised his platform. According to her, that pressure finally broke him. But before her fury could cool, Trump swooped in, twisting the moment into yet another survival chapter in his own saga. Trump didn't hesitate for even a second before pulling Charlie's death straight into his own survival narrative. He painted it as proof of the same shadowy forces trying to take him down, warning his followers that Kirk's fate could just as easily be his. Within hours, Charlie was no longer just a casualty. He was cemented as a martyr in Trump's mega playbook. And that framing? It struck Trump's base like lightning, electrifying them with fear and fury all at once. Then came the visuals that turned Sparks into an inferno. American flags flying side by side with Israeli flags, broadcast everywhere. The exact images conspiracy pipelines feed on and churn into rage overnight. Owens was already pouring out raw emotion, her fury blazing across airwaves, and those photos landed like pure gasoline. Suddenly, the moment wasn't just news. It was a split-screen war. On one side, Owens, seething, saying Charlie had been crushed by enemies who forced him to the edge. On the other, Trump, hijacking the tragedy, spinning it into the latest chapter of his never-ending saga. Trump didn't just mourn Charlie. He inflated him into a larger-than-life emblem, a flag for every patriot who swears they are being cornered and hunted daily. While most conservative pundits tried to pump the brakes with calls for calm and facts, the tidal wave was already rolling. Nuance got drowned.
He didn't work alone on the internet because it seems that he became radicalized on the internet. That's just by watching same things that you're watching and hearing. It looks like he became radicalized over the internet. And it seems like he has wonderful parents, brought in a wonderful neighbor, smart guy, great boards, great marks, great student. And then something happened to him over a fairly short period of time. It looks like he was radicalized over the internet, and it's radicalized on the left. He's a left. A lot of problems with the left, and they get protected, and they shouldn't be protected, as you understand, I think, very well from the tone of your...
Social media juiced the martyr narrative until it wasn't just chatter, it was gospel. That frenzy wasn't background noise. It was a drumbeat setting up the next act. Then came the media blitz, and mainstream outlets latched onto Erica Kirk's widow speech like it was scripture. Her vow to carry Charlie's mission forward wasn't framed as personal grief. It was weaponized into a rallying call. Those lines became the sound bites, looping nonstop on cable, clipped, remixed, and trending for hours online. The optics fused sorrow with strategy, grief with politics, until Charlie's private death morphed into public property. And once that fuse was lit, there was no slowing it down. But it wasn't the polished tributes or widow's vows that really shaped the narrative. It was Candace's firestorm clips. Her rage, her accusations, her refusal to let anyone slide into Charlie's place became the soundtrack of the moment. Those raw rants ricocheted across feeds, slicing through the noise. Owens wasn't just grieving. She was staking her claim, branding herself a keeper of Charlie's legacy and daring billionaires, donors, and even allies to test her. That's a split-screen battle in motion. Trump turns Charlie into a mega martyr. Candace reframes him as a martyr for truth. And stuck in between, the public, watching grief curdle into a power struggle, conspiracy, and fractured camps. What should have been mourning turned into war. And now the narrative isn't just about Charlie's death, but who gets to own it. But here's where the whispers hit overdrive. The detail that lit up blogs, discords, and late-night group chats. Was Charlie's death just bad luck, or did it carry fingerprints the size of giants? The chatter won't quit. The story goes he crossplay is way too powerful to test. From here on, I'll just call them that blue country in the Middle East.
Hamas and the government are evil, but I think also there is no justification.
Are they equally?
There is no justification for the mutilation of thousands of innocent people and children. It's futile. There is no justification, Mr. Kirk, for invading hospitals, innocent populations, and dragging out a war which is damaging it and the West.
You've made that point, but
it's not a point; it's a moral truth. Isn't
okay,
it?
Yeah. It was also a moral truth that the war started because 1,300 Jews were killed and 200 were taken hostage. And when you declare war on Israel, expect a firestorm in reaction. Let me finish. I let you talk.
4 years. Charlie was their loudest hype man. Front row at fundraisers, cozy with their lobbyists, defending their policies on every campus stage like a one-man PR machine. Then, about a year back, the shine started to crack. Small signs at first, then gaping fractures everyone could see. The warm ties cooled, and whispers said donors were tired of Charlie's noise, his raw style, his refusal to polish the message. That's when the rumors gained teeth, bruised egos, cross agendas, enemies who don't forgive and definitely don't forget. From that moment, every odd detail around his death got reread like a crime scene clue. Suddenly, this wasn't random at all. It looked like motive, means, and maybe even a plan. Instead of playing cheerleader, Charlie started sliding sharper questions into the mix. He wasn't just parroting talking points anymore. He was handing the MIC to guests who didn't follow the script word for word. In politics, that's treated as betrayal. Days before his death, he sat down with Ben Shapiro, and insiders say it got heated. Charlie pressed harder than ever, drilling into policy, influence, and the billions flowing overseas. Watch it now, and it feels like foreshadowing. Fans replay those clips whispering. That's when he signed his own check. That's also where Candace Owens tipped full throttle into conspiracy. On her podcast, she painted Charlie as crushed under billionaire pressure, the kind of pressure that comes from people who did not want him poking that door open. Online chatter went even further, pointing fingers at heavy hitters tied to that blue country in the Middle East. If Charlie was shifting away from blind loyalty, that made him dangerous. And history backs it. Question the wrong players, and you don't just lose donors, you lose your platform. Some say Charlie lost both, permanently. And look at the timeline. A year of side eyes and subtle cracks. That 10 Shapiro interview. Candace raging about billionaires squeezing him dry. And then, boom, Charlie's gone. No hospital fight, no final words, no drawn-out drama. Just instant silence.
And I will say this, the behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite.
That's why the streets keep asking the raw question. Was this random violence or a brutal warning shot meant to keep others in line? Zoom out and history repeats. The hardest blows don't always come from outsiders. Betrayal often comes from inside the house. That's a shadow over Charlie's story. He wasn't just a voice. He was an empire, a multi-million-dollar brand that donors use as a weapon. Knock him out, and suddenly a throne is wide open. Everyone swears loyalty, but the hungry ones are already circling the crown. And Candace? She didn't sugarcoat it. She straight up warned about snakes sliding into Charlie's chair. That wasn't metaphor, it was a shot across the room. Politics runs filthy like that. One day you're the golden child, the next your so-called allies are rehearsing your eulogy while eyeing your empire. History teaches this lesson. Caesar didn't fall to outside invaders. It was the knives of senators he thought were allies. So here's a Judas question on everyone's lips. Who really gains with Charlie gone? The billionaire's furious he strayed off script? The influencers chasing his spotlight? Or the politicians eager to absorb his machine before he broke away? The streets won't ignore how quick the vultures circled. Reports say his body turned up September 9th in that Tesla trunk. But neighbors insist the car sat there reeking for 2 days. Do the math, and it points back to September 7th, Charlie's own birthday. If that's true, this wasn't just murder. It was marked like a symbol, a reminder stamped into the calendar forever. That one detail set the internet ablaze. Coincidence, or a calculated move meant to scream message received. If that Tesla really sat untouched for 48 hours, then Charlie's end wasn't loud. It was silent, cold, hidden in plain sight while life rolled on. Stack it all together. A year of billionaire pressure. Candace raging on the MIC. Shapiro clips replaying like warning bells. And then boom, Charlie vanishes on his own birthday. No last words. No final fight. No moment to explain. Just a trunk sealed shut until the smell gave him away. Meanwhile, Turning Point leadership shifted straight into continuity talk, like the machine never skipped a beat. Mega names dropped tributes that read more like resumes than grief, auditioning for the spotlight before the body was cold. And then there's Candace, the loudest voice in the room, swearing she's a true guardian of Charlie's legacy while drawing lines in sand. She positioned herself as the one who knew the real Charlie best, daring anyone to challenge that claim. But here's the twist. What if there was no Judas, no billionaire coup, no hidden hand from overseas? What if this wasn't chess at all? Just one man, one trigger, one split second of chaos with no bigger plot behind it. That possibility lingers, but in today's game it almost doesn't matter. Because reality bends the narrative, and the loudest story always wins. Candace, Trump, and the movement already stamped it as execution. Once that image is locked in, facts don't stand a chance. The myth overtakes the man, and the spin cements itself as history before the truth ever gets to breathe. That's how legends are born, and how movements weaponize grief. So tell me this, was Charlie's death a cold-blooded conspiracy, or just chaos dressed up as legend? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've been vibing with Drip Zed, hit that like, share, and smash subscribe. More fire breakdowns on the way.